Jnani, C. Karmayogi, D. A Dhyata, meditator. Considering that everyone is doing his work or her work, I should say his and her. Okay? So, considering that everyone is doing their work with utmost sincerity and honesty. Very nice question. In fact, this is Arjuna's question. Where? In the Kathopanishad, right? No. Bhagavad Gita. Which chapter? 12th chapter. At the beginning of the 12th chapter, this is, he asks, ditto, same question he asks. He says, there are people who worship you. There are people who worship you in temples, in the puja room of their houses, means in a form that is fashioned, murta form, with attributes, sagunam brahma. And there are people who meditate upon you, also with attributes. You visualize Rama, Krishna, Devi, Shiva, etc. You have these kinds of bhaktas. Then you have those people who know you as attribute-less and connect with you on that level. They are contemplative. They are munis, yogis. And who do you like better? He asks. That's why we love Arjuna so much, because all our questions are already there. And the whole of 12th chapter is an answer of not who is closer to Ishvara, because Bhagavan Krishna does not take the bait, and neither will I, and neither will Ishvara himself herself. It's not the question of who is or is not closer, because the truth of the Bhagavad Gita, the truth of Vedanta is what? You are Ishvara. You are not separate from Ishvara. That is exactly what Tattvam Asi means. The Shastra does not say Tattvam Asit. You were Ishvara, now alas, you are not. Something happened. A fall from grace. No. And neither does the Shastra say Tattvam Bhavishyasi. You will become that. No. Tattvam Asi. Even now, even in the state of ignorance, even when you do not know, you are what? Sat. Tat. Tat sat sa atma shvetaketo tvamasi. It has been shortened to tat tvamasi. That sat, which is this atma, you already are. So the truth of the correct answer to this question is, you couldn't be closer to Ishvara even if you tried. Even if you say chipak ke baitho, like let me stick to Ishvara. It's not possible. It's not possible. Even if you want to glue yourself to Ishvara, it's not possible, because you are as close as it goes. There is no difference. And what do you mean by difference? There is no, and how? Because difference is again a kind of a cerebral concept. It's all mental. Difference means what? It should. How is difference experienced? Here, that is what counts. Difference is experienced as a sense of disconnection, alienation, feeling lonely, feeling like cut off from everybody in the Jagat, feeling cut off from other things in the Jagat, feeling threatened, feeling far away from the source of the Jagat, Ishvara. So it's a feeling. And it's not a feeling that is appealing. It's an unappealing feeling. But then it is still a feeling. Every feeling is not a reality. If we keep going with our feelings, half the days we'll remain in bed only. Won't feel like getting up, won't feel like doing it. Then if the Acharya asks, why did you not come to class? The student will say, I simply didn't feel like it. And that would be a valid excuse. But we know better. We know that feelings have a reality in that minute and not beyond it. Svakale satyavat bhati. In its time, when it is eclipsing one's judgment, the feeling seems so real. Oh my God, I have been, in America they say dissed, means disrespected, dishonored. I have just been neglected, I have been talked badly about, all these things. Svakale, in that time, in its time, it feels so real, satyavat bhati. Prabodhe sati asadbhave. Prabodhe means when you wake up from this delusion, when you understand that that is not all that there is to it, when you awaken from this delusion, even let some time pass, the feeling is very strong, just sit with it. And you know, the other person did not mean it. They were perhaps joking, or they were having a bad day, or they were having some difficult feelings come up for themselves. In any case, one is enlightened to the fact that this is not personal, and with that, the feeling is falsified. So, really speaking, that feeling of alienation, if we take it seriously, and if we take it as the reality, then there is no solution. If alienation is real, that means what? It cannot be removed. Swabhavasya na nivrittihi, we have been seeing both in Swamiji's class and here also in the Bhagavad Gita. The Swabhava is such that there is no freedom from that at all. So if alienation, disconnection and difference is real, then it cannot be removed. Then what are we doing here? Trying to remove something that cannot be removed? It's called Lady Macbeth syndrome. Shakespeare wrote a play. This mad woman who engineered the killing of her brother-in-law so that her husband would be king, was feeling really guilty, walking the palace halls in the middle of the night saying, oh, I want to wash hands, out, out. You know, she felt like she was having blood on her hands when there was no blood at all. So why are we removing some non-existent thing? So if alienation, first of all, if alienation is real, it cannot be removed. If alienation is unreal, then also what are we doing here? It cannot be removed. So what is alienation? As though real. As though real. It is experienced, so it has a transactional reality, but it is dismissible, so it is ultimately not real. So, whether one is a bhakta, whether one is a karma yogi is a bhakta really. Meditator is also a bhakta. Jnani is also a bhakta. It's not a separate thing. No matter who one is, no matter who you are, whether you identify, I should say that is better, Whether you identify as a bhakta or a shakta or a bhokta or a karta, doesn't matter. You are still one with Ishvara. You are still with Ishvara. So, and the Bhagavad Gita will tell us, Yad karoshi, whatever you do, Yad ashnasi, or whatever you eat, whatever you drink, wherever you go, you just understand that all this is happening because of me. I am not separate from the food. I am not separate from the farmer who grew the food. I am not separate from the rain that nourished the earth that grew the food. I am not separate from you who is eating the food. And I am not separate from, there is no difference. Everything is me. You contemplate on that. Contemplate on that no matter what you do. And that cuts the alienation. And even if you forget it, even while breathing, this air, vayu, namaste vayu, tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi. You are the only Brahman that I will see and I can objectify. The Bhakta tells here. And then you take a deep breath. The vayu that just you said namaste to, in the form of Brahman, Ishvara, has entered this very body, has become one with this body. And now it is what? Prana. Is prana Ishvara or not? Yes, it is. Because there is a Vedanta Vakya, Prano Vai Ishvara. Veda Vakya is there. Prana is Ishvara. Vayu is Ishvara. Then the breathing in is Ishvara. Kumbhaka, the holding the breath is Ishvara. Exhaling is Ishvara. Rechaka, the holding the breath after the exhale. What else is it? Ishvara. This is a very nice meditation. All you have to do is breathe. That's all. You can do it even at the office, or nobody will even know. What are you doing? I'm just sitting and breathing. That's all you can say. Very nice. And so we practice awareness of Ishvara as the universe in the universe is not separate from Ishvara. That we start to see. And then this, whatever you said here, becomes Satyam. No matter what one does, one is Ishvara. Somebody has to show where the chashma is. Multi-part question. In waking state, will daydreaming create samskaras? Daydreaming is called manorajya, a mental kingdom, where you go off and oh so delicious. You can create whatever you want. And it offers a great respite from day after day after day of Vedanta classes, morning and evening. You can just go off into your own world. And the teacher will never know because you're sitting there, you're looking at the teacher. But you are already there. This is called Manorajya, mental kingdom. What is wrong? One may say. It is harmless. There is nothing happens. It is free. I'm not spending money. I'm just dreaming of spending money. I'm spending daydream money. I'm not really wasting money. I'm not wasting time because for all practical purposes I'm attending Vedanta class. And so 5 minutes, come on, don't grudge me this, one can say. But Panchadashikara, Swaminiji says this Manorajya is the root of a lot of difficulties. It may not create its own samskaras because the Manorajya you are expending already created samskaras. Correct? In dream also, you are not creating samskaras. The samskaras that are already there are being extended. So do same in the daydream house. Because you can't dream of something you don't know. Correct? You can only dream of what you know. And so, Panchadashikara, Swaminiji ji says that that is the first sign of before something becomes a full-fledged desire. And then you give that power to that thought. First there is the thought, oh, such a nice thought, let me go with it. And then you give power to the thought, and it becomes more and more and more real. And that which is real, Sat goes out the door and Asat takes over. Fanciful, wishful thinking. This is what is Manorajya. So no, it cannot create samskaras. You are just doing bhoga of the existent samskaras. Okay? Then,
just one addition to this, like as you said, like in daydreaming, you do not think of something which you never thought of yet. But like the scientists or the creative people,
yeah.
They invent or they discover something.
That is not called daydreaming. Yeah.
But you know, they
nice try, however. Yeah.
But they also live in imagination, which we call.
No, that imagination is not daydreaming. Yeah. Imagination, daydreaming can have imagination. But this is not imagination. What you're talking about is creative, that's the creative force. That's Shakti. That's goddess within. Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. That's one's intuition. That's a blessing of the goddess. So if the writer sits and does nothing but stare at the ceiling all day, but there's something happening. A poet, something is coming from Bhagavan which they are waiting to receive, and it takes so long because they have to get out of the way, and sometimes that takes a long time to get out of the way. Same thing with scientists, researchers, that's not Manorajya. Manorajya is, sitting, you're going for some other purpose. You're sitting in Harikatha, you're sitting in Vedanta class. Suddenly the thought comes, oh, I have just won the lottery. And then I have to, and then yes, the more you give, the more you grow. So I'm standing at the gate of the ashram. 2,000 rupee notes, I'm just, or I'm standing by the Ganga, I'm just doing this. How nice it will be, everybody will feel so happy, and then maybe I'll become more popular. This is daydreaming, okay? This is what one is advised against if one has even an iota of interest in Vedanta Shastra. Part 2. How to find out if a dream is coming out of samskaras in this life or past lives. Do yourself a favor and don't find out. Yeah, that's the simplest answer. Simply because it's a huge waste of time. But if you knew your previous lives fully, if you knew all your lives, then it's okay, then you can yourself tell. You will not be asking this question. If somebody remembered all their previous life, last life I was a donkey, life before that I was a monkey, before that I was a buffalo. Okay? I'm trying to illustrate tamas, rajas, sattva. Anyhow, so let's say I remembered that I was a donkey and I was rather cute, but nobody really loved me that much, and I was just carrying weights, sand on the river bank. That was my job last life. Then before that I was jumping from tree to tree, terrorizing students in the previous course. So maybe I was a monkey. I remembered that, correct? And then before that, what was I? Elephant, let us say. I was an elephant. And then I was trumpeting, temple elephant, very nice, but very sad also. temple elephant, and then I was taken out on a procession. Every festival, we were all dressed up, painted trunk, painted ears. So I remember these 3 lives. Let's say those were my past lives. And then I have a dream connected to donkey life, kicking somebody. Then I know, okay, this is from donkey life. And loudly trumpeting, going like this, like this. Then I know it is from that life of elephant. Then there is no need to ask this question. If I don't know, then if I ask this question, then again I am in a quandary, because it goes in the realm of the unknown. There is a reason why Mother Maya, the great goddess, in all her compassion, has put a veil between this life and the past. Let it remain. Why lift it and take a peek and get scared and come out, or go in disbelief? Why do that? And still there is no way of finding out. In India there is this Nadi Shastra. It's some kind of a very interesting astrology. It is prophesied that anybody who came to India, or anybody who was born in India or visited India, they will have some papers on them. Papers means palm leaf manuscripts. And they are all there in South India. So it looks like some people have already had those readings. Okay, so they are all there in South India, and sometimes you have to go to 2-3 fellows' house. They take your thumbprint and they want your name. And then they say, okay, come day after tomorrow, it must be in some other bundle or something like that. And then they call you after 3-4 days. Then you go there and sit in front of them. It comes in 11 chapters. And what they don't tell you is whatever money they charge is only for the first chapter. Prequel. If you want other chapters, then you pay a little more, each one. And then the first chapter includes a freebie. What was your immediate previous life? Okay? And then, in other words, like, why are you in this state right now? What could you have done in the previous life to get you to this particular incarnation? And believe it or not, everybody, no matter which reader they go to, is told that the previous life was in Sri Lanka. Okay? Yeah, the previous life was in Sri Lanka, and in Sri Lanka there was, what did the person do? The person was a human being, not an elephant or a bat or a cat. And then in Sri Lanka, the person disturbed a meditating sadhu. And the sadhu was meditating, and this klutzy, noisy person walked and fell all over the sadhu, or tripped and fell, or said, yo, Baba, I really need you, come out of your samadhi, something like that. The person said, and then the sadhu opened the eyes and was not very happy. Unhappy sadhu is equal to all the troubles in this life. That is what everybody is told. You know, this is how it is. Swaminiji once sent a bunch of people, because they were all saying, we want nadi reading, nadi reading, nadi reading. Okay, go fulfill your desires, get your nadi reading. And the nadi reading, all 15 of them, I think about 12 of 15 of them were told that their past life was in Sri Lanka. And different stories, but their past life was in Sri Lanka, and they dished a sadhu, and then that's how this life has been dished out. That's why you are suffering. So what to do? Just you have to do this puja here, do that there. No harm, do pujas, no problem. But where is the verifiability? Can you go find the sadhu you kicked in the last life? No way. Not possible. So we stay with the verifiable. We stay with what we can touch, what we can objectify, except Brahman. We cannot objectify. But then how come we are going after Brahman that we cannot objectify? Because it is self-evident. You keep focusing on cannot objectify. You forget it need not be objectified. Cannot objectify, theek hai. Okay. But the main thing is you need not objectify it because it is evident. Just like you don't need a flashlight to demonstrate the sun is there. Supposing somebody comes from Mars and says, what all you have on this earth, show me. Oh, first let's show you the sun. And then you hold a flashlight to give the Martian a tour of the sun. Not possible, not needed. The sun is shining the light on you and the Martian. So, this is why, except Brahman, which cannot be objectified but does not need to be objectified, we stay with what we can see, hear, touch, smell, taste, infer. Okay? Part 3. In dream state, the actions of the dream, will it create additional samskaras? No. Because it is bhoga sharira. You are a karta only in the waking state. That's why the waking state is so dear to everybody. Because we can get our hands into things. We get into trouble where? In the waking state. And all the delights are where? In the waking state. Where can you earn karma phala, results of action? In the waking state. You are both a doer and an enjoyer. In the other two states, you are just an experiencer. In the dream state, you are just an sheer experiencer. Only bhoga sharira. Because you are not enjoying or experiencing dream with a body that is lying on the bed or on the floor wherever you are sleeping. You are experiencing the dream, giving yourself a dream body. It's all sukshma. In the dream you have a body. You have given yourself a body and everything is you. So, supposing one dreams of stealing, let's say I have become a bank robber. Where? In the dream. In the dream I'm a big fat bank robber and I'm going and I've robbed a bank. And the police is behind me, coming to get me. And then what? I wake up. Wake up in a terror. Oh, I was chased by a police car. Fee, that siren is going and I was chased. And suddenly I wake up. Am I guilty? Am I guilty? Yes? No? What is there to think? Will I be jailed?
No.
Supposing if I continue the dream and I was jailed in the dream itself, coming out, will I have a criminal record?
No.
And the reason for this is because that reality and this reality have nothing to do with one another. The material for this reality is memory and desire. T.S. Eliot wrote a poem called Wasteland. And then he writes in that, stirring memory and desire, bringing dull roots from the spring rain. Very beautiful. Wasteland, the poetry is very nice. But anyhow, so here, memory and desire are the raw materials for the dream. So the dream cannot create further samskaras because the dream is expending them.
Sorry to disturb, but what do you think about virtual reality now?
Yeah.
It creates samskara, or it's the same that the dream?
Virtual reality means what? Like what you experience after wearing Google glasses.
Yeah.
That one. It's
Yeah,
just like
because-
a movie. Can the movie create samskaras? Perhaps. I don't know. Perhaps. Maybe. But generally no, because you go to the movie to have a good time. You're expending. You're a bhokta in the movie. Samskaras means that it may create vasanas for more virtual reality experiences. I want more of this. Because unlike a dream, you have control over virtual reality. You can say, I want to do this again.
Yes.
I want to have this again. So that kind of samskaras it will create. Samskara of addiction. You can't be addicted to a dream because you don't know when you will get the same dream next time. one thing it does, another thing about the dream is that it exhausts prarabdha. If you get beaten up by somebody, by one gunda, gunda means what is in English? Gunda? Goon, yeah, see? Take away that. Dalopa, okay? So you get beaten up by some ruffian, some roadside riffraff beats you where? In the dream. In a way, some karma is already exhausted. Perhaps you were to get a beating here, but then in the waking state, but Bhagavan just spared you. Suppose you get married in the dream, you can skip the marriage in the waking state. Go straight to Vedanta. Very nice. So like this dream exhaust prarabdha. So sometimes people have this, somebody told me this, recurring dream of Karavasa means being jailed. I said, don't worry, you won't be jailed in real life, I mean in the empirical life, because that prarabdha is being exhausted. So whatever difficult dreams, that means a little bit of karma gone. Moksha is the absence of desire. But is not the pursuit of moksha a desire in itself? Yes. Yes, it is. Oh, Purnamada, no. We have to begin somewhere. In order to get to the absence of desire, there is a desire to have no more desires. That's why it's the final pursuit. That's why it's the ultimate. Because every desiring person is sick of themselves. They don't want to be desiring anymore. They want to stop desiring. Why? Because they have tried to fulfill their desires and not succeed. Very difficult to fulfill even one desire. OMG. So many slips between cup and lip, between one person and another person, and between one object of delight and the person who wants it. It's frustrating, maddening. You feel like pulling out your hair in clumps, provided you have hair. Okay? So, what to do here? That's why moksha is an uncultivated desire. Unlike cable television, cultivated desire. And what else? Pizza, cultivated desire. It should be like this and it should have these toppings and all these things. Cultivated desire. So uncultivated means one is already hardwired for moksha. That's all you have to do. That desire will manifest itself when you get off the amusement ride. Continuing from the question from yesterday. If life is amusing, like an amusement park, why get off? Why pursue moksha? As long as life is amusing, no one will pursue moksha. And then there will come a time for this desire to manifest. It takes time. Let it take time. It's okay. There is no rush. And in fact, we don't say this is the only life. Better luck next time. No problem. We have a long duration of life. Life after life after life after life. Is there so many opportunities are there? The urgency is expressed in the classes and which is expressed in the Upanishads only because this time there is an adhikari body. So let's not be a nobody. Let us have this adhikari body and make full use of it. That's why the urgency. Otherwise it's not an urgent thing. Let it happen. Let it come. No problem. If it's not come yet, it will come later. So yes, Vedanta is full of paradoxes. That which is the absence of desire is moksha. And of course, there is a desire for moksha because only after understanding I am already free of desires, that's when one has moksha, that's when one becomes free. One knows that one is free of desire. Okay?
Isn't it the desire's gonna stay, you just don't have to fulfill them anymore to be happy, isn't that moksha? Just like desires.
It depends. It
gonna
depends.
stay.
The desires become vibhuti. You know vibhuti they give in the temple? Ash. In all Shiva temples, there is vibhuti. Vibhuti does not mean ash. Vibhuti means glory. So the desire really is it's not dormant, it's not active, it's neither there nor not there. It's neither cultivated nor shunned. One is just in the flow. If a desire comes, then it is equally quickly gone. If it stays, if a desire comes and stays, then one pays attention to it because it may be benefiting somebody else. And so it's not that there is no desire, you're absolutely correct. It's just that there is a strange feeling of there being a desire without an owner. There is no ownership of the desire. Like Lord Krishna is always seen with the flute and peacock feather. He has desire, we can say. He wants the flute, he loves to play the flute. He loves to have the peacock feather. These are all we can see as desires. But the only difference between him and somebody who is not yet a jnani is that if you take away Lord Krishna's flute, he will not have a meltdown. If you take away the yellow clothes, Pitambara Dhari, Kunja Vihari, all these things, if you take away all the accoutrements, it is not a what's it say? It is not a travesty. It's not something to mourn. He will not miss the flute. He will not miss anything. So that's why such desires for Mahatmas like Pujya Swamiji and Bhagavan, etc., are seen as vibhutis for other people to enjoy. We enjoy Krishna's flute more than Lord Krishna himself. And to close with a lovely story of Pujya Swamiji, once he was very, very sick. I was with him for a whole month. I was there with him. This happened in Thailand, in Bangkok. And then for some procedure, he had to shave off his beard fully. And he didn't have to, I think he had to shave off a little bit here, but he decided to shave off the whole beard. And nobody could recognize him. He came out of the room, this was all in a hospital suite. He came out of the room and then people were kind of shocked. I mean, they could recognize because obviously he was in orange and they could recognize, but it was a shock. And then there were a few people who were visiting to come to see him because he had been so sick. We were there for almost 6-7 weeks, almost 2 months. And so in the process, many people traveled from India to come and visit him and pay their respects. And the 3-4 visitors were there, they were like, they really inhaled, waiting to exhale. And they said, Swamiji, what have you done? And then he just was quiet and everything. And then what he told me afterwards, I can never ever forget. He said, my beard has become other people's desires. because you are Upasya Murti. I told you that. Because you are a icon. You are a deity for us, for everybody. You are a subject matter of worship. And so he nodded his head and he said, okay. He was quiet for some time. He said, it's kind of nice not to do anything here. It's nice, feeling all soft and nice. He said, he felt his cheeks. And then he said, I will grow it back for them. This is what it is like. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari